All right. You guys are recording.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Bellingham Village meeting for July the 14th. I have the vice chair, Vincent Cody Jr. is our lawyer member at large. Bruce Wilson is our health agent. Tina Griffin is our minutes clerk, and Ron Griffin is our food inspection agent. Okay. First order of business is review of the minutes from June 23rd. Oh, Mrs. McLaren is absent. Did I actually think the option is only year long?
But that you said that was a slam issue, yes. Yeah, I think you brought it up. I'm trying to cover all the answers. This is an correction the next meeting will be held live. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as written. What did you do?
No. All right, I second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, coronavirus updates.
Okay, so we've stepped into phase three. There's step three, basically step one, I guess they call it.
Right.
Of which now we're able to, start playing baseball and soccer games. The football is still practice only. The students have been, doing very well out the field. I've checked in on a couple times and talked to some of the higher ups there, and that's gone off pretty well. For the most part, everybody's done well with the social distancing fans and stuff like that. So that's good. We've had a small increase in our number of cases. Some of that's due to, I had one chat with us this morning with the testing that's out there. They now including the antibody testing into the mix with Maven. So if you test positive for the antibody, you're showing up on the Maven list. So you actually, if you show up positive, then they suggest you get the nasal swab. And then that takes, as we know, 5 to 7 days for the test results. So 6 of the cases that are on our 14 are actually waiting for the results. Reviewing the numbers from the state, they had a little blurb in there about the testing, and that the Massachusetts is still at 1.7% of positives versus the testing, which is still a pretty good number. Just caution anybody that's tuned in, don't let your guard down. Still continue your social distancing and wearing your mask in public. And yes, the mask bylaw is still in place. So that we're looking for it. We will remind you friendly, hopefully. I've been running around to a lot of establishments, Home Depot and such, and reminding everybody. But other than that, for the most part, we haven't had as much trouble as we did when we first began to play, that's for sure. I mean, most people seem to have got it, and our numbers reflect that. If you look at the southern part of the United States, it's 60, 70,000 cases in one day. That's crazy.
Yeah, certainly Florida, California, Texas.
I mean, once we get the food and stuff there, Rob and I had to respond. Sold to Mexico, and the place was slammed with people Friday night, so we had to do a little social distancing set up the next day.
Yeah.
But that went pretty well. I think they got it down. Not much more about that. I mean, people on the way track are still doing well.
You want to give out our stats for the town?
You know, I didn't bring the numbers. I believe there was 14 positive cases.
Yeah, that's true. 14, yeah.
So as of this morning, there were 1,263 tested, 162 confirmed, 15 active, 136 recovered, and 1 death.
There we go.
So 5 to 7 days before we find out if those 6 or 7 are actually really high.
There's a little bit of flu going around right now too, because I've talked to a number of people that called sick or tested and they got tested and came back negative.
The other thing that's happening is there's been some comments in the press and certainly in Bellingham news that herd immunity it does not appear to work with COVID. People have had COVID 6 weeks later and been tested for antibodies, not showing. So if they get COVID again, it's not going to be attenuated. It's going to be as severe or more severe because their immune systems are actually impacted quite severely from the first round of COVID. So that's very, very unique to this virus. Most viruses, sort of like when we had the 2004 inoculation. Anybody who was over the age of 50 something didn't need it because there was like swine flu in 49. There was one in 68. That was interesting. So I didn't need an inoculation. It would have been nice to get tight and see if I had the antibody. The antibody truly is in there. It's going to attach to your immune system and fight off that thing because it recognizes it. But the COVID is mutating too fast, and the antibodies do not seem to have a ability to attach to the normal immunity cells. I can't remember, like we'll say white cells, but it's not beyond that. It's in the mechanism of the white cells. So,
Speaking of the antibodies, the 2 healthcare centers in town are actually testing for the antibodies. If anybody's interested, that that there's no criteria that anybody can go in.
What's the test?
No. The nasal test is I think it's a finger stick or something like that. I'm not all that familiar with. At least if you want to know if you've been exposed or whatever, that test is now available for all to have.
the problem is if you test positive, then they're suggesting get the nasal with brain scratching prone.
Yes.
I actually had to have it done. It wasn't
Wasn't that bad?
No.
Trish said it
I
was.
had to have a nasal procedure done. It wasn't, that had to be negative before you go for it. It wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Because it's over so quick.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, some people, the first time they had it, they're on camera. It was
Okay.
those are probably.
I think it was a little practice for the nurse.
Okay, so it's not 7:15 yet, so we want to talk about the tobacco agent position update.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think Rob, you went to some training.
Yes, so I completed my training on the 7th of this month, so kind of right after I basically finished all the food inspections.
Okay, great.
So I did that training with Sarah Hogan. It was probably 2.5 to 3 hours, so we covered a lot. They did say that we're not allowed to do any compliance checks until January 1 as the earliest, just with the current.
How about the sign? Can you do signage
You can,
inspections, just not the?
they are saying it's up to us,
Okay.
but they are not saying yes or no. So,
Okay.
yes.
But I think wasn't Marilyn going to do a final check?
She was.
Do we know if she was going to do
But what are they saying? You can't do checks?
They're saying you can't do compliance checks, but you can do regular
Yes.
inspections.
Now, why would that be?
They
that?
don't want to endanger the, yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
They're more concerned about the youth
Yeah.
than
Okay.
us. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But this time you could be using some 18, 19, 20. Before we were using 16, 17.
I actually have several volunteers that are
Oh, good.
chopping up a bit to go if they can.
Okay.
Whatever.
I have a question. I mean, can the board hire Robbie? Or do we have to post that in interview? But if we have to go that route, can we bring Robbie in on an interim basis just so that that position's covered and, you know,
We've done it in the past, so I haven't put it out.
you don't have to? Okay. All right, no, I just, from my own gratification, I just wanted to,
We did it with the school inspector. we did
know
it
the
with
answer and-
we did it with
Right.
the-
and then, you know, if that's the case, I recommend that, you know, Robbie's a good fit based on my observations and that he's already started the training process, so he has
On
a,
the food inspection, I'm gonna have to say that, you know, whatever was happening with the previous one, our former agent, and the trainer, like Sarah. Obviously, a lot of places were saying things. It's almost like what was happening on the septic side. They let that go. You can't go below state law. And if we have a Bellingham regulation for septic, for food, or for tobacco, you can't go below that. I mean, you know, it's why have a regulation if you're just gonna waive it every time? Because no variance.
So do we want to, wait on hiring him or wait till Tricia said?
Just to piggyback on that. If you do decide to, there is an additional training that I can attend on the 21st. That would have to be instated as they would put the logins for the town in my name. So,
Okay.
We're locked in at that point.
yeah, I wanted to wait to do anything until, obviously, I spoke to you guys.
Oh, here's a question.
That's a week today.
Do we, I don't know, courtesy we wait for Trish or not?
I don't think she's gonna have a problem.
I don't think so.
We have a quorum.
Right.
Do you want to make a motion?
I mean, in all fairness, I mean, I've spoken to each you individually
Right.
of my thoughts on that anyway, so I mean, that she's aware of what we're thinking of.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion, we hire Robert Griffin III as our tobacco agent.
Okay, I second that. All of you in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is.
Thank you. In that same vein, I did also just want to let you know formally that we had several separate conversations, but regarding Jamil's question from the last meeting, we are not the only town that has banned electronic products. So,
I researched it, there are three towns with Blackstone being the closest one, yes.
Well, he also met with Sarah and Cole.
Yeah.
He's our regional, so he got all the.
Yeah, so you got, I
So
think
what
actually,
else did you find out from that?
so she was stating that several other towns are in the process of also banning them.
Right.
However, due to COVID, they haven't been able to amend regulations yet. That's something they're just going to put on the back burner. But there is a number of other towns working to do the same.
It'll be sort of like the 21. For a while, we were the only one in a group of towns, like 15, 20 miles an hour, still staying at 18. And then we had to do it before December 31st. But that said, you know, there was so much pressure, you know, coming in from other places. Whatever we decided to make, but that's
We made the decision for us, is what happened.
right. But prior to that, I had mentioned there was some doctor, and there was another person from Renton, you know, talking to me. And said, you know, if you look at the map here, you're the only one that's green. Right? I'm only one vote.
Right.
And I agree. Kelly always used to, you know, like to say, it's better if the state does it than we're not targeted. We made a reg.
that was actually,
It's unfair.
that's a long time ago.
If we make a reg, it's usually for public health, groundwater protection, or something like that. You know? We don't just make regulations for the heck. That's it.
All right, so 7:15 tobacco regulations continuation, Bellingham smoke shop. Are they on?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. So we did do some research. I don't know if you could hear Robbie, our new tobacco agent, but we did do some research, and Bellingham is not the only town that is stricter than one state in regards to vaping. So I think we're gonna be sticking with our original decision, right?
Yeah, just a little background on the reason why we decided to ban the vaping products and the vaping device basically was a lot of the stuff that was not FDA approved. Even if it wasn't to be used for cessation, which is the only one that's allowed now. We had to worry about products that had sort of like a vitamin E compound, but it wasn't truly vitamin E. So it wasn't something like vitamin E is approved by the FDA, for like
Do
any
you
other.
know exactly what happened with vitamin A? What was that?
Well, vitamin E gets in the one that's now the synthetic one that is not exactly, how do I say it?
No, what happened with vitamin E? Somebody was off market selling cannabis, putting vitamin E to make the smoke thicker. That's what CDC found out. It wasn't the vape.
Well, it also, I think there was a BU study or some place.
No, the CDC said it wasn't vape. That was confirmed. And those people was arrested who was selling off that market cannabis and putting vitamin E to make.
I didn't hear that, but there was evidence for that the products that were not FDA approved.
Yeah,
Compounds.
that okay. So second thing is the only product we're talking about is Juul, which is American tobacco, American company.
The problem with those is, especially in the, I'll say, in the younger ones. Now that being 21 now, but whether it was 18 or 21, what's going to happen is 21 will get filtered down to probably 17, 16. Before 18 was filtering down to 12 and 13 and 14.
Okay, how about the device? How about the devices?
What?
Devices. The device, the spare part, the coil. They cannot be FDA approved. Electronic.
Being anything that had to do with vaping, including the devices.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess, we're not going to approve a device. We're not going to approve the spare products for it. Someone can either get those someplace else or whatever. But, we went through this reg in December and January, and then February 4th, we approved it. And then COVID came around, but, everything was to start on June 1st anyway. So.
And it was all posted correctly.
It was
months
posted.
before
I
that.
think Marilyn went around and told everybody that. And,
But it was posted officially.
I guess as what I'm going to say right now is we're just going to hold this regulation as it is. Trying to take parts of it. The only thing that would be allowed is if it was a cessation product, like Juul made something for cessation, and you had to vape it, then that would probably be allowed. But
What is that? Juul? What?
I said, if you said you had a Juul product that was FDA approved for cessation, to get smokers, basically stop smoking, including ultimately stop vaping. Because it is smoking. It's just a different way of saying it. The harmful gases in a cigarette, maybe a little less in a vaping, but the heat and the other products that are in the vaping devices are definitely bad for the lungs. And then there's other issues. So, I mean, is it safer? Well, it's all relative, it's sort of like saying.
But other towns every bus town is selling that devices.
Yeah.
Each town you see is banned it. Any town who banned that vape devices at the smoke shop was exempt all over the place in Massachusetts.
Maybe you should sell them in the other stores that you have.
Yeah, we're basically,
See, that's every town in Massachusetts, smoke shop was exempt, except Bellingham.
Stone is the same regulation as ours. Canton is the same regulation as ours, and we have others following suit. It's not every town in Massachusetts. That's not accurate.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Next.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Updates and complaints.
All right,
How about the pickles thing? Is that going away yet?
Yeah,
Okay. You can put a
the
sign
lady
on
actually
this.
came and picked up the sign. DPW wanted her to post the sign on her property because they didn't want to have to post them throughout the town and stuff like that. I mean,
Correct.
the sign is posted on her property, to be maintained and,
Close enough to the road so you can see
yeah,
it.
I mean, you know, there's a sidewalk on both sides down
Right,
through
that's
there.
right.
So, hopefully people get the hint. I don't know who would enforce it at this point, other than, you know, I guess they could call. them,
Well, I
investigate
said,
it,
I
but,
think we had said to her, if she takes a photograph,
I mean, that's the only way
Someone
is
gets
to
into the
actually
car,
see,
and we'll
see
run the
and
film.
identify the
Person
person.
in the dog.
Correct.
I talked with Tracy from Animal Control. I mean, if we can identify the person, that she'd be more than willing to go down and talk to him and say, hey, you're supposed to, you know, clean up after your animal. But, you know, it's not a simple task. you
Good
know.
news is the last couple of trips down to the snack trail, it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when people were putting in the bag and then there's a sign saying, don't use this trash can for animal waste. What's it for? Anyway,
Right.
they were throwing it on the trail in a bag. So now it's even worse.
You know what they do, just so you know, as a company, what they do is they leave it back there and then they walk back to pick up the instead of carrying it all the way down.
Okay. Well,
That's what they do.
I don't know, but I went back and forth twice. And nobody, you know, there were other people on the trail, but nobody had picked these up. They were there for a while. And then the other good news is maybe the park department was mowing the grass. They really cut it low. So I have a feeling they picked it all up. So,
What other complaints are you?
A lot of typical mass complaints. We seem to be getting complaint from an anonymous employee at Antron who has complained to us several times, the Attorney General's office,
you still doing it?
about them wearing a mask, but all of the workstations are separated far enough. If you wear a mask when you're operating a piece of equipment, you're endangering yourself if your vitals or anything get clogged up. So it's kind of a, you know,
Yeah.
a double-edged sword. You know, you end up hurting yourself, or you wear the mask and not breathing anybody, but the machines and stuff are all spaced out far enough.
And OSHA requires safety glasses, usually like
Right.
finger guards or handguards. But so the mask at that point, and usually most of the lubricants from the machine shop now, they don't use oil because it has this oil. They use a water-soluble vegetable lubricant. So they can actually filter it and redo it. They just pull the particles out and they reuse it because it's more expensive, but it's green technology, and it works just as well.
But this one particular employee just not happy. I don't know what we can tell them. I mean, other than explain to them that, you know, that everybody's far enough apart that, you know, they're socially distanced, that the mask isn't necessary in that work environment. I mean, if they're getting up and going to the lunchroom or something like that, that's a different story.
Correct. They have to have the mask when they're in close contact.
Except for this year, I've been going to Stop and Shop a lot. The parking lot is picked up.
Oh, yeah, no,
It's picked up.
I-
So there's no
I-
complaints.
quite
I
a
was there today.
conversation with,
Yeah.
quite a conversation with, Mr. Baker, who, you know, actually, I came and he met me out there. Mr. Sullivan had filed complaints with DEP, DEP Waste Management, DEP, for the detention basin, filed a complaint with planning department. So he's, you know, really pulled out all the stops again, hoping to catch a new audience. I spoke with Marilyn Stone, and met with one of the DEP agents out there and Mr. Baker, and, you know, they did pick up a few things. I mean,
Was the wetland impacted?
there were a few wipes that got loose. They've got barrels out by all the carriage carousels. But when the wind's blowing, I mean, it's gonna catch a few. I mean, it's,
The one thing I noticed is that around more of these rubber gloves. You don't see
yeah,
those.
but people, you know, they determined that the contact isn't as much, so the people stop wearing the gloves.
Right.
And the cost of the mask, people don't throw them away
Right.
as much. They hold on to them and wear them several times now.
So I think there was a little bit of stuff. Saturday was up there. Saturday, Sunday. A little bit at the market basket, a little bit at the mall, not too bad. There were gloves and masks, so
I mean, I take a daily run through each of the markets just to make sure. And obviously, you know, if I see something, I call whoever, you know. I mean,
And McDonald's is currently closed.
McDonald's is gonna be opening soon though, because Tim was over there today to do a final.
That hill was pretty clean, but
Yeah, I mean, they do pretty decent.
it's not their stuff, but it usually, I don't know, it just, the winds were blowing the wrong way, because it was more towards the building, Walmart. It was more stuff.
When that storm came in, the wind blew all in the other direction, so we should go on the other side.
So no other new complaints?
No, I mean, a few food complaints, I'll let Robbie talk about those. I mean, all in all, you know, not too bad.
What do you go? Impacts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the board wants to do, with the, possibly looking at maybe revoking the food permit if the dog issue continues. I went, spoke to the manager,
Okay.
they were gonna post the sign at the
The
front.
sign is not up, I would say today. A big piece of granite's in the way. Either way, when they put the sign in, they have to move that sheet of granite.
Maybe they had the larger one, but I mean, like I said, I
Okay.
travel food just about all the time, and then Home Depot being like one of my favorite places to go, I'll check it out.
I was up there to pick up something, which actually got a good deal, so I was happy. So I was in a good mood. But anyway, I walked the entire store. There was no dogs. But like I said, I did notice where two signs were missing, and I said, "Damn, I gotta get them."
Yeah, I think
But
what
again,
happened
it was
was
only
either the wind
Saturday.
blew them off or something, but you can see what the sign was, but the
Right.
tape is all
Someone took it
tattered
off.
and torn.
I went in last week, there were 2 dogs.
And then that guy that,
Waited for the manager, that didn't show up.
Right.
And that's when I cooked it.
so, yeah,
It's tough because the people get all busy dealing with people and they're not guarding the door as much as they were earlier.
oh, this guy got a little crazy, you know. He told me off, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. And when I started following him, he started saying, "Stop following me." I said, "Hey, just walking down this aisle," but you know, whatever. And I did take a photograph of him, but one of the employees was wondering why I photographed. Well, I was trying to photograph
Go to
him.
the employees next time. Go to the-
Yeah, I know.
Don't complain.
I know. But, you know, just because I walked into this guy 3 times, I said, that's it. The first time I said, "I'm busy," I'm not saying anything. The second time, I just looked at him. The third time, it was good. I was telling him, right off the wall. I was yelling at him.
I suggest to get one of the jerseys like we have there, the inspectional services of Board of Health.
Yeah, I just.
And wear your badge because it has a whole different character. I mean, Rob will attest to it.
Yeah.
If we go and talk to somebody and we're not identified or not official, it carries a different thing. So I mean, put that on and I think you'll get a different result.
Well, I didn't have the badge with me, but I forgot. In my wall, I have my town ID with a photograph.
We should really go to the manager.
Yeah, I
Instead of confronting
So,
them.
It was just that, you know, I just said, I said, and I said, "You and the dog out of this door." I yelled. Now. And
They're trained at the counter. They see me coming and they're on the two-way talking to everybody.
Quick, get the dogs out the back way.
Quick, Wilson's here again.
Okay, food inspection reports.
So how's it going, Rob?
Yeah, it's going.
Is it better? Is it getting better?
We're getting there.
Okay.
I have these. I don't know if you want to pass them down.
Yeah, there's a
Stack.
few
So I wrote
citations.
10 citations this weekend of the re-inspections I did. I did roughly somewhere between 13 and 15 re-inspections.
That's quite a large number of, as you call it, repeats.
However, of the ones that I wrote fines for, I believe I've already gotten either phone calls or resolutions from about 50% of them. So
Okay.
the fines are definitely working. I was in communication with one gentleman that owns several stores. So he's been very good to work with. He actually had a technician go out to the location the day after I wrote the fine, so it was all taken care of. He sent me pictures of everything addressed so that I can go back and do the re-inspection. Several of them, I mean, most of them are mainly time and temperature controls
Right.
that are issues right now. I do have potentially an 11th location that I will write a citation for, but kind of wanted to run that one by you guys. The gentleman that is one of the owners of the store of the restaurant without naming him specifically, was very standoffish when I went in for my reinspection. I went in at the end of one of my sweeps before, had taken some temperatures. They were out of temperature. The gentleman that was there assured me that it was, I mean, they were within reason, so assured me that they were more recent, that he was putting the covers that I suggested be put on back on. They've just been washed, and it was a couple things of that nature. The units themselves were actually running too hot, so he had adjusted the temperatures.
Right.
Apparently, the following morning when I went back in, the secondary owner was in there, and some of the product had actually frozen or spoiled from getting too cold, which was a large issue with that gentleman. However, the items that were temperature issues the night before were now even more severely out of temp. And his response to me was that I need to take a day off. So he was not exactly a fan. He did leave. I wanted to again just talk to you guys about it.
Yeah.
Make sure it was okay to go back. Just give him some time to try to take care of things. And
Yeah.
if I go back a third time, that's 3 chances they've had to get it under control.
Correct.
Post.
So the items that were spoiled in well temps, did you tell him to take them out and toss them?
He had already-
even have them still there, right?
He had already tossed, I believe it was 1 container of eggs that had spoiled. He had said they had frozen. There was some broccoli and other things in there that I don't know. They did have some frost on them, but I don't know if it was from them being in the unit or if it was because they had just come out of the freezer or walk in. It was hard to tell. I didn't know it at 10 in the morning.
Mhm.
So, however, at that time, the sausage was already 56 degrees. So although the broccoli was frozen, the item directly to the right of it was out of temperature.
Right.
So,
And we're not even talking about, remember I was complaining about our machines not being as accurate as I would like to see.
they're not even
We're
close.
like 4 and 5 times what the range is.
Yeah,
Above that.
50, 60s, not down around 41, 42.
No.
I originally
So
looked-
even if you went to 41, instead of call it 44,
Yeah.
which I would say is 42 and a half, that's fine, because plus or minus 1.5, anyway, that's it. They're not even close to 44. Now, that's it, if it's 44 that you give them, and they're at 45, then it's gone, because, to me, it's getting too far out. We're not even at 45, we're at 50s and 60s. I mean, some you can almost say, hey, I think they'll be cooked if you leave them like that for like 12 hours.
You think they were left out in the night or something?
I don't think
No,
that they
it's-
were left out. The problem is that they leave the lids on the units open, and especially with being either too close, a number of them are pizza places, so either being too close to the pizza grill or just the grill station in general.
Mhm.
And then I understand that people get busy. We've been trying to work with them on things to do, whether they adjust the temperatures of the units themselves, whether they reduce the amount of product that's actually in the containers so that it's lower in the container, because typically it's the top section that's getting out of temp.
Mhm.
Or if I've been advising almost everyone to put the little covers on every individual container. That way, if they're in pepperoni salami, they're not. The ham and everything else isn't getting up temperature.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to work with them and come up with things that will work for them that aren't too much of a hassle, but at the same time, they're again blatantly disregarding it the next time I come in.
Right.
So
And the other thing too is it's like, you tell them what it is, you tell them what the corrective action is. It looks like almost all of those are, I'm not gonna do the corrective
Yeah.
action. Or, I did it the day you were there. It's another day now, and I'm going, yeah,
Should
but
we
you didn't
increase
learn.
inspections? Should we increase the numbers?
I know it was kicked around at the last meeting
Yeah.
to do every restaurant every quarter, with the exception of maybe the level 1 convenience stores.
Right.
Just keep those at twice a year, which I honestly wouldn't think would be a bad idea, just by,
Well, let me ask this, can you handle that? Because I think it's a great idea,
absolutely.
Well, obviously-
especially now. I
Yeah.
mean, you figure if you had lost 3 months of business, roughly, some would take out, but even a month went by before takeout.
Do we have enough in the budget for that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The revolving fund is real. That said, we were taking insurance on that, we were taking 3 or 4 inspectors. So Rob said, and that he's on the town insurance, so we don't have to worry about, kicking up the inspections.
Well, obviously, they're
Yeah, well-
not doing what they need to do throughout their off, right?
And what I was leading to was, after all this time, you've lost business due to the virus. And in some cases, I'm not sure, are we not having all the old staff back? They're all going, get new people.
There are a number of them that have had either issues getting their staff back or hiring in general. A number of people had told me that due to the benefits of unemployment. Their employees told them they would not be returning until August. So
Yeah, see, I don't know, I thought they couldn't refuse, immediately lose your benefits, and you immediately are fired. I thought that governor said, and even the attorney general said. But that said, then each establishment has to have on each shift a food safety person. Did they lose those two? I mean,
I don't know. If
They're spread kind of thin.
Yes. Well, again, the serve safes that are posted are typically the ones we have. So a lot of times if we do go in and there's no manager present, we don't have access to the office where they're kept.
okay.
So one place, for instance,
But some of this would be picked up by a service.
Seoul, New Mexico did actually say that they're going to post all of their serve safes because I guess that all of their staff has them. Maybe it was one of their requirements. So they're going to actually put all their serve safes and certifications on the back wall for people to come in to see.
Perfect.
More on them in a second. I do have to say that it's not all bad news. There were several restaurants that actually made very large turnarounds in this amount of time. One of them being our friends with the Snack Door. They have made great progress. I was very impressed. I popped by to do a re-inspection this weekend. I did not actually complete a report because they have more things in the works. So they're going to contact me probably tomorrow or the day
That's
after
good.
to let me know that everything's coming in. And they had ordered, they're trying to really modernize the restaurant. They do have a new pest control person that was coming in, which had been an issue in the past. They were trying to find someone that was local, so they had someone coming out, like I said, within today, the next couple of days. They did make large progress on the overall cleanliness of the kitchen and have found a solution that I think you might be okay with for that snap door. They did get larger industrial grade mesh because they want to be able to still have that open for airflow. They are going to eventually replace it with a full screen door, but said that because of the awkward size of the door and how long things are taking, that it's going to be potentially a fall project just before it
The
becomes
mesh
a
door
door.
works.
Well, I did say the larger, thicker mesh, and then the fine one in between it, just so you don't put your hands on it.
So they have the larger mesh. They did order weights to go across the bottom to hold it in place, and they were placing a board on the outside that the weights will hit so that there's nothing coming in. So I was very happy with that. In regards to Seoul, New Mexico, I have been working very closely with management. One of the managers actually texts me each day since our last inspection with their updated time and temperature sheets. I had them on their own put together a spreadsheet so that every hour they have a timer on their phone that goes off to take the temperatures of all the meats in the walk-ins, as well as the fridges and the flip tops. Anything that's out of temperature, they know it's been within that hour. So if it's not egregious, they rotate it out depending on where it'll get the best treatment, or toss depending on the situation. So that has been much better. They did order 2 new refrigeration units, so they actually sent me a copy of the invoice for those if you want to see them. They had also had issues with their ice machine at that time, so they had a technician coming to put in a new ice machine. They were informing me of that, and then, as I said, they were pitching the idea of not serving tables where not everyone has an ID, as well as posting some new signage that they created saying that authorities will be contacted in the event that they notice someone giving a minor alcoholic beverages.
I think that's perfectly fine. Like I said, the alcohol is not our issue, but, you know,
They're going above and beyond. That's what-
yeah, we'll help out another boy who says, you know, because ultimately, if ABC comes up, the town gets named.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, hey, you know.
At the time that I had gone in, I know we had some issues with social distancing, so and actually also taken a video, which I can show the board if you would like to see it. But every table in the restaurant was previously filled. There was basically no distance between any of them. So when Bruce and I went back for the inspection on Saturday,
Was it a special night or something?
Friday
it was
night.
just a Friday.
Yeah, but it's a Friday night, it's not always that way.
It's a young crowd.
That's
Yeah.
consistently
Cool.
between PJs and Seoul, New Mexico. They tend to be very busy.
I was gonna say, a lot of people I know, well, not maybe October, by that time it should
So
be,
20 years younger.
yeah.
Plus years.
I'll just say,
There are a lot of people my age there,
right,
but
well, this is what's happening in the southern states, it's, you know, we call those millennials, whatever. They're, you know, they think they're invincible. The virus is gonna straighten that little segregate rule, you know, they'll like just bomb them out to the hospital. You know,
Question, all the reports and stuff, do we put all that in a file folder in the office, or is it gonna be all automated on the system?
So we have access on, both Bruce and I have access on the systems. If you ever need to see reports, I can always send or email them to you, or give you my login directly so you can see all the ones I've done. But we also have access where we can print the PDFs and put them in the file. So we can
I
do
think-
any combination.
Everything will be electronic. anyway.
Now, should I make a motion that we just increase the, you know, the once a quarter minimum?
Yeah.
Not counting it.
Or not counting your inspections.
If not, I would just say, do it. It's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea, too.
Because this way here, you know,
It's
what we used to
always
say in the
been-
old days is, it only takes one hospitalization and the press gets it. You could be technically ruined. It'll be worse than COVID because people won't go where someone got their stomach pump or worse. You know, that's called a minor thing. Oh, you only got your stomach pump. But someone could die if, you know, elderly or if they're, you know, have GI issues. You know.
I do also have to say that we did get an illness complaint for the restaurant. That was the reason we wrote the fine structure.
Oh.
However, I did an investigation the next day, and they've actually passed their most recent 3 re-inspections with flying colors.
Okay.
They've gotten 100, a 98, and 95, not in that order,
Okay.
but they've been doing great. The new manager there has really taken charge
Okay.
and had a really big turnaround.
That's good because you'd like to see that, you know, someone's got it, and they fix it, and then there's little chance somebody else will get sick.
He
But it's the extra special touch. I gave him my serve safe book, and then he
Right.
spent hours and hours in the store,
Right.
you know, going through and coming up with solutions to their problems that
Right.
have been problems. for
They wouldn't have
years.
figured it out, right?
And, you know,
That's good. Thanks, Bob.
I met with Jackie is the new manager there, so we had met together, probably spent 2 to 3 hours one day just walking through the restaurant, and we came up with new systems as to how they could properly cool some of their foods, just because that was a cause of a lot of their issues was just improper placement for cooling. So we designated a cooling area. We cleaned up the overall
shelving.
the shelving. They are in the process of removing and replacing all of the wood products. That's again 6 to 12 month goal, but they did go in. They ordered all new timers so that they could put again timers on everything to make sure that it's properly moved from place to place with the chain. I mean, massive turnarounds.
So right now, what is it, risk level 4 and 6 is each quarter, is that right?
We only have one level 4.
Okay.
So he's suggesting, except for the
Level
one,
6.
which is twice a year.
And I don't believe we have level 6.
You don't have level 6?
Well, the 6 is a supermarket.
Yeah, I was gonna say. level 6.
Is it supermarkets?
I think it's-
Okay.
6
Do
is
you
a
still
supermarket.
do?
So
We've
we
been
have a lot of
Right.
threes and a lot of
Alright.
twos. Now the twos are
The
twice a year,
2s
threes.
were
three times
twice a
year.
year, right? So now we're gonna go 4?
Yeah.
And level 1, we're gonna keep.
I don't know if they're once or twice, but
It's twice now, state changed it about 2 years.
Oh,
So
okay.
every
I've,
level
I've been
twice a
doing
year.
them in June and December. for the
I would
most
leave
part.
them alone, because I don't think you have a plan.
So
Unless it's-
level 2, we're gonna go
expiration
from
of
2
growth.
to 4?
Huh?
So level 2, we're gonna go from 2 to 4 times
Yeah.
a year? Okay. Level 3 was 3 times a year, and then 4.
4 for sure, yeah.
And the rest of them are,
Yeah.
well, actually supermarkets is 6 times a year.
Right, we'll leave that alone, I think that's fine, right?
Level 4 is 4, and then level 1, we're gonna keep it 2.
Right.
All right. Do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we,
Risk level 2 and 3.
we increase the inspection frequency on 2 and 3 and 4.
The
And,
4 was already.
One was going twice a year, so we'll go 4, one was going 3 times a year, we'll go 4, and the other was 4 times a year.
So 4 is-
Quarterly.
All right, I second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is passed.
I mean, this way too, like, if you catch it, you know, early, it won't go to a second area. And then, you'll have more re-inspections if they have to get it corrected before, you know, they go to another quarter and it's the same problem, you know? And then theoretically, how much food went out that was not good.
in addition to that, just because I know Bruce and I had talked about this before, do you want me doing COVID seating checks on all the restaurants that are offering indoor seating at this
Yeah,
time.
definitely.
That was one of the things
Let's
that we
make that
talked
part
to
of
the
our
selectmen
regular.
last night too, was, he's got feet on the ground, and it's not as easy for us to all get out. I mean, Jim, myself, and Tim, have been out as much as possible, and usually we only responded to complaints at this point.
Yeah.
So he's out in the
Social
mix.
distancing, the masks,
Yeah.
obviously.
The only thing is
So
like,
maybe
if seating could be involving more than one thing, like someone could seat a table in front of the fire, so it could involve fire. Planning, I'm not sure, sorry, but, but inspection, for Tim, it would be if there's, how do I say it? Doors not hung, it's open and insects can come in, so yeah, that would be building, but you could easily say something.
So I know, I mean, at least we got eyes out there, and then
But,
to bring it to
COVID
the attention
seating
of the others.
It's just like mass. It's, I don't think it needs to come by 4 people. It needs to come right from him. You can't have this,
For instance, with Sold in Mexico, when I went in,
Right.
they had put up like paper mache banners to separate what tables they couldn't sit at. But they'd also then just put items on the tables that were not in use, or those tables were still a bit too close. But the parties that were sitting at the tables were then taking the chairs from that table and making their table larger. So when I went in was walking through the restaurant with them, I actually physically removed the
extra
chairs and tables with them and turned tables around so that they had a path on either side to walk. They ended up losing overall only 1 table because we were able to turn a lot of their 4s into 6s and still space them out.
Okay.
But just to remove the temptation from the public, because that's where a lot of the issues coming from.
Do you need us to make a motion on that class? Is that class on the 21st? Is that cost? Is there a registration fee or anything for that, or is it still all state?
I believe it's all state.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
The same thing with the signage and everything. They did give me the website so that I could order them directly from the clearinghouse for businesses.
Wanna do those?
Yeah, I'm just signing payroll, so it'd be a lot.
And these here, we just have the motion previously signed.
We said we didn't really have the motion.
Okay. Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we approve Home Depot credit card for $50.96.
I second that. All those in favor say aye.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve Gatehouse Media $57.40 for public hearing notice at 6/11/2020.
I second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
There's a lot of plans here.
Yeah. It's been
Is
busy.
there amendment bills on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, those plans.
Each plan should
Yeah,
have
there's a
that.
whole bunch.
Yeah.
I know, but do you have them?
I have them here.
Those are plans, and those plans, those are very much those.
These are betterments here.
Amendments, that's-
I'll do the betterment bills first. I'd like to make a motion, we pay $275 to ADC Septic and Sono Adet for pumping septic tank.
Okay, second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion, we pay $2,600 to Peter Lavoy and Sean Tanver for
And they show.
perk test, septic design, and asphalt.
How much?
$2,600.
I second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to pay Town of Bellingham and Shaw, Tambros, it's Shaw. $150 for, it's the application.
I second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
I'd like to make a motion, we pay Brown Construction and Sono Adet $8,820 for repair septic system.
Okay, I second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
There are three applicants for the betterment loan, but two of them have some issues with their application at this time, so we're just going to look at the one for 39 Borden Road.
Okay. Yeah, those, we'll just leave them.
Yeah, we'll address them at the next,
Okay.
in August.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion
Is the application?
for the application for the septic betterment loan program. Donald Boucher, 39 Porter Road. His income is okay.
I second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion
You.
passes.
Okay,
Uh,
Trish,
wonderful.
you can do it. Okay, the others were hold.
We had an issue with the water bill and the other,
That's fine.
with some paperwork. I'll tell you, that's one way to get the bills paid.
Yep. Can't get it from him without a bill.
Oh, I know.
Outstanding.
Hey, I see your gut plans next, but what is the notice of betterment agreement for 346 trees?
No, this is the application.
That one there.
I just said that one.
The other one says hold.
Here it is.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
That's to be recorded at the registry.
Okay.
And then,
So I'd like to make a motion, we approve the recording of the betterment agreement between the town of Bellingham and
346 trees and
Stephen Rivet and Mary Rivet at 346 Teresa Road, Bellingham.
I second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
That one have been noticed?
Yeah.
That can stand.
Let me sign and then.
Oh, yeah.
Two good to record, what is? do you need?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So each of those have a sheet on the, right on the front there. If you need-
Yeah, I know,
Okay.
it's nice. Looks like a charm. Then I know where to sign that, okay. Okay. I'd like to request a local upgrade approval for 20 Burkeen Street for William and Robin Goodman. Requires two local upgrade approvals, 15-405 1A, request waiver to allow reduction of setback to property line from 10 feet to 8 feet. Also, the second one is 15-405 1B, request waiver to allow reduction of setback slab foundation from 10 feet to 7.5 feet.
Yeah, second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes.
Don't miss it.
You're gonna take after me.
Yeah, I got it.
So record year for the planning and inspection office for the permits this year.
That's it, you know what I was gonna say.
I think my new goal is to catch Mr. Hardy for, citation amounts. He's at
Oh,
just
sure.
under $1 million, right?
We should bring the betterment, like we try. And then we're running for the betterment interest funds.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been pushing that, trust me.
So-
That was terrible what happened in 2007, so it's like,
So we'll probably do one in November, or we're gonna wait till next May?
We should probably get a balance from where we are.
yeah, I think it's supposed to go on the 12 morning.
Okay.
I'll move for it, make sure. it's-
Okay, I'd like to make a local upgrade approval request for 60 Pickering Avenue. Okay. Setback to wetland, 310 CMR 15 1E. Depth of cover over trench. So we're waiving the wetland then? Oh, is it part of the depth?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, depth of cover over trench, 3 to allow 3.65 feet cover instead of 3 feet. 310 CMR 15451B. Allow max depth cover to exceed 36 inches.
Yep.
To exceed 36 inches up to 72 inches.
That's the way the
Second.
Second that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
way the regulation reads on that is provided that it's vented.
Right.
But because with change to the bylaw, all systems are vented now, so.
But, you know, as long as there's an inspection port on the new stuff, and as long as the tank is not 6 feet below grade,
Yeah.
you have to bring it to,
Yeah.
well, no, it can be fine, you have to bring it to grade.
Yep, within 6 inches, or they can bring it, sometimes they ask them to actually bring it to the surface.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're already gonna buy collars, you might as well run it to surface. They're pretty green too. They screw down. See, if you bury them 6 inches, and sometimes you can't get screwed back. Because they get dirt.
They get arrested.
Yeah, well, no, they're stainless, but dirt gets in the screw. But some are Phillips or some are Hex. What I like to do is put a piece of plastic over that, and then put, that way you can always get the screws. Just telling you, those old inspectors, they're fussy. Hey, why work harder than they have to work? Because it works smart, not hard.
I usually throw a piece of rebar down and bury it, so I can
Yeah.
find it in my nail detector.
Yep, that's true. Okay, let's reverse our local upgrade approval for 75 Farm Street. 310 CMR 15451B, waiver to allow the septic field to be 6 feet from a shed where 10 feet is required.
Okay, second that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Is this one supposed to be stamped and signed, or is it one not? Or you have to-
The one with the-
Like this one?
No, there's no stamp on it, that's why.
What about the other
There's
piece?
3.
Okay,
There's 3 other ones in there, we signed.
oh, we just missed 2 minutes.
Is it
That's 3's plenty.
Okay.
We usually end up having multiple ones in the file, so just toss them in the extra one. Sometimes I get it in motion.
There you go, one more.
One needs to be right here on the left.
Oh, yeah, so you ended up with half of it.
Where are we at? Okay, one last one, okay. I'd like to request a local upgrade approval for 221 Main Street, Michael Mann, 310 CMR 15405-1A. Request waiver to do setback SAS to the property line from 10 feet to 7.5 feet.
Okay, second that.
No.
Oh, sorry.
310 CMR 15451B. Request waiver to reduce setback of the SAS to the southern wall from 20 feet to 11 feet. And then 310 CMR 15451H. Reduce the separation of groundwater from, okay, oh yeah, 2 feet, whereas Presby system is allowed based on the state's rule. Okay, fine. So, okay, so it's 6 to 2, is that it? No, 4 to 2.
It's 4 to 2.
4 to 2, okay.
But it's part of the Presby approval.
That's fine, yeah, that's fine. It's
I usually ask for it anyways because
Yeah, that's fine.
it's in the file and somebody comes and does a Title V later, it's not saying it's too close to the
Right, right. Okay, Ken.
All right, I second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It looks like we've satisfied our agenda.
Now wait for the extra. We'll see.
It looks like we've satisfied our agenda.
Oh,
Okay, so just a couple of items here. What are we
Okay.
doing for a meeting schedule? Are we gonna meet on the 28th and then on the 4th? Or do we wanna skip the 28th and just go to the 4th? Or,
You tell us how busy is it in the office? Do
so
we
you
need to
can,
meet?
you can,
well, this is pretty busy.
you can see
Well,
I would say-
then that tells us we should do it on
on
the
the
28th.
28th, and then, okay, do we wanna look at our August schedule? Cause the 4th is the following week right after the 28th.
And right now, the website shows the next meeting as the 4th, but it didn't
Right.
have the 28th on there, it had the 21st. So I edited that to take out the 21st, added the
Okay.
28th.
So
So let's move to 28th, 2 weeks later, to whatever that is, the 11th.
The
right?
11th,
11th.
move the 4th to the 11th.
Yeah, 4th to 11th. And I think we should meet twice now because people are getting out there, more construction going on.
So we're gonna,
So we wanna go 11 and 25?
this 11,
Yeah, 11, 25.
and 25.
Is that okay? You all? Okay.
And we'll meet in here, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, just the intent, right?
Yep.
Okay. Is that everything?
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.